inside of here. We have people with degrees that took them 6, 8 years to go and get those degrees, and they're inside here because they're determined. Because they're determined to live the life that they want. They're determined to free up their time, spend it with their family. They're determined to utilize these systems. They see them as genius, right? Digital real estate, see them as genius, something that they can build, they can rank, they can rent to small business owners. They're bringing value to the world in doing so. And so, for instance, if you're, I met a guy that's actually in our group. I met him out in Houston. He's actually a rocket scientist. Okay, the guy's a rocket scientist. He makes enough money. He does it, like, he's got all that under control. But he just had a kid, and he was like, you know what? Like, I don't care about money. I care about free time. I care about like being able to spend time with my babies, to be able to actually be there with them when they take their first step, be there with them. And this guy's a rocket scientist. I'm not playing with you. He's a rocket scientist right here inside BAM. Okay. Just like we got doctors, we have dentists inside of here. We have people with degrees that took them 6, 8 years to go and get those degrees, and they're inside here because they're determined. Because they're determined to live the life that they want. They're determined to free up their time, spend it with their family. They're determined to utilize these systems. They see them as genius, right? Digital real estate, see them as genius, something that they can build, they can rank, they can rent to small business owners. They're bringing value to the world in doing so. And in return, they're able to kill their job and free up their time, right? And the reason that they're putting their time into this is because they're determined. And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be determined. You have to be determined. You have to have a goal in mind. You have to have a reason to wake up every morning. You have to have a reason to stay up late and build out these lead gens. You have to have a reason to write the content. You have to have a reason to add the citations, to add the backlinks, right? They're not going to build themselves, and it's not fun. I'm not telling you guys that doing SEO is fun. I think the mundane day-to-day stuff that you have to do for fulfillment of, like, actually adding a backlink or actually adding a citation or actually, doing all that, I think is so boring, right? And it's not rocket science, right? It's not something that is like super hard to do. It's actually really, really easy, but it's mundane. It's something that it doesn't expand your mind, and it's the slow grind of things, right, that has to happen to get these things up. And so a lot of you outsource that at some point, right? But you have to be determined to, when you first start, to actually do those things, because at the end of the day, that's what brings results. Putting up a website, getting it up on Google, getting your GMB, and pushing links to that thing is what's going to bring results. And I think if you're not determined up front, if you really don't know what you want and why you want it up front, then you're not going to be determined to stay up late one night and add those backlinks, or to research a competitor and find copycat links, or to find the citations, or if a GMB goes down, to go and get a new GMB for it, right? You got to be determined. You got to have that deep desire, right, that you find in family, fitness, finance, and faith. You got to find that deep desire in yourself, so that you can pursue your entrepreneur journey. Because at the end of the day, no entrepreneurship, no matter what you get in, no matter how many gurus you listen to, no matter how much shit you hear from other people, there is no entrepreneurship and immediate success. It just never happens. It never happens, and you'll never be a real entrepreneur until you're determined to be a real entrepreneur. And that determination comes from those goals. It comes from that family, fitness, finance, and faith. It comes from you finding a real purpose beyond yourself, and a real belief beyond yourself, and a real system beyond yourself that you're willing to follow day in and day out until it becomes reality, right? Narrative becomes, or perception becomes narrative, narrative becomes reality, right? And that's how it goes. And so, like, you got to find that in yourself. So I ask you, like, if you're in a position right now to where maybe you're not putting in as much work as you should be, right? Maybe, and ask yourself this, like, would you hire you? I always say this all the time. I tell my wife this all the time. It's like, would I hire me right now in my company? Would I hire me and pay somebody like me $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month? Would I do that? Would I hire me? And if the answer is no, if you wouldn't hire yourself right now in your own company, then you're treating this like a hobby. And this is a business, and it has to be treated as such. If you want to call yourself an entrepreneur, if you want to have your own business, if you want to be determined and reach those desires that you have in this life, then you have to treat it like a business and not a hobby. And if you're not willing to hire yourself, if you're not like, you know what, I'm putting in the work, I'm taking the action, I'm out there grinding every single day to make this a reality, and I would pay myself, then you're not doing something right. And we have to change that. We have to change that, because without you, there is no business. Without your determination, without your action, without your focus, without your thirst for new knowledge, then this isn't going to happen. Okay.